Oh, I was so close to having a stream actually set up properly. Just a little bit of a sizing issue, it looks like. I think that's an easy fix, though. All right. There he is. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just want to do a quick mic check. Can everybody hear me? Give me a good thumbs up. If I'm looking over there, it's because chat. Audio is all good. That's a miracle. That's usually the thing that I screw up the most. All right. Good stuff. Well, again, welcome everybody to the weekly Fireside Chat. I am your host, I guess, Craig. I'm one of the founders at GameGlass, and I do all of the design and lately a lot of the engineering. We have a team of 3 engineers, so when I say I do some of the engineering, it means literally just a tiny bit. And it's more for polishing because I go too hardcore on design. Yeah, so I wanted to add a little structure to these. This is, I think, the 5th time we've done it, but we haven't really had a lot of structure to them quite yet. And just so everybody knows, we do these every week, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Maybe that'll change sometime down the road, but it seems like a good time to hopefully get a bunch of different time zones in. And essentially, we're just going to do a weekly update. We're going to start that this week. And then I want to do a little bit of a community showcase, but I didn't have the time to get the assets prepared. I think I can do it quickly as I'm going over everything else, but we'll have to see on that one. Basically, I just want to come up with a shard or two that somebody's made so I can showcase it on the channel and get them some exposure. And if they have it public on the marketplace, obviously get you a link so you can see the awesomeness that they've created. Okay. So let's get started with a weekly update. If you do have questions, please just leave them in chat for now. I'll get to them as soon as I possibly can. For now, I'm just going to do the update part. I'm going to clip it and then throw that on our channels. If we do a community showcase, then I'll definitely be adding links and whatnot to all the different recordings and whatnot so they can be properly attributed. So yeah, let's just dive in. This is the part where I would have a fancy weekly update animation play. So I'm going to cut this out later and then add it back in. Okay, weekly update time. So last week we didn't do our weekly update or fireside chat. I was actually traveling. But this week we've got a lot of stuff done. And for those of you who don't know, we are in the midst of a beta program. We are refactoring pretty much everything from the ground up when it comes to the desktop software. We've realized for a long time that the experience was quite janky, to say the least, where you would have to go to the website to sign up, then you would have to go and download the application, and then once it's downloaded, you have to go back to the website to add shards and manage your account and stuff. That will be a thing of the past. We rebuilt it from the ground up. We've changed the entire infrastructure of it. We've done a whole lot to make it a better experience, you know, right from the get-go for everybody that's joining us and joining the community and wanting to build really cool UIs. So with that said, there's still a lot of work to do. We are hoping to have a release done rather quickly. And when I say rather quickly, I mean within the next week or two. We have people using it currently in beta. If you're curious, you can just sign up at beta.gameglass.gg. And when we get to checking that list, we'll send you an invite. Yeah, so the last few weeks have been a lot of finishing up the last few things that need to be done for us to get a release out. And, from a product design and a software design and a software engineering application, that means how much stuff do we have to move to the backlog? The answer is a lot. We want to have feature parity with the current system, but the current system is technically the desktop software plus the website. So we're calling feature parity, combining those two just into the desktop software. So you'll be able to do things like log in, create an account, do password resets, manage your account, manage subscriptions, manage your payments, manage all of your shards. So you'll have a library where you can add shards there. You'll have what we are calling Explore. For now, it might change. We do want it to be more community focused. So this will be the page where you go and you find and discover new things to add to your library. And then you can go to your library to edit them, to delete them, to do all of that. So you don't have to do it from the website anymore. So there's still a few things that we need to get in place to get that launch finalized and out. But it is going swimmingly. So we're going to have something ready within the next couple weeks, and you'll obviously see an announcement post and emails and all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Lots of really cool stuff, plus a partnership, which we have somehow kept secret. Lots to announce, put it that way. So stay tuned to this channel. Stay tuned to our social channels. If you want to get more updates, subscribe to our email list if you want to get updates. But there's also going to be a big flashy button in the new desktop. We're calling it the Hub. And there's going to be a big flashy button that says, "What's new?" And you can click it and see all the things that are new. Fascinating. All right, that's it for the weekly update. Let's get on to more of the fun things. So first, it is Friday. That is good. It's been a long week. It's been lots of looking at code this week and just trying to get stuff done. So I think we should show a few things off. Why don't we do that? I like showing things off. Boop, boop, doop, doop. Okay. I just need to figure out and remember how to use OBS because it's been a while. It's been a while. Okay, so we've got that, and that, right? Okay. Let's see this one. Let's see. So what I want to make sure is that as I continue here and show things off, not revealing too much, but not revealing too little. So let me switch branches here. Definitely got some changes. Hopefully they didn't break anything while I was getting all this set up. Ooh, 10 files updated. Beautiful. Quick install. Excellent. Okay. Looks like it's still working for me. All right. I'll just show everybody the progress we've got so far. Okay. So don't mind the home screen. I'm actually working on this right now, so just keep that in mind before I start sharing, because this is basically placeholder. Okay, let's go. All right. Cool. It looks like even though I set it to just share this window, it's also sharing Figma, which is not a problem. It's just the Fireside chat banner. But that is not supposed to be like that. So I'm just going to do one thing here. I'm going to move this, put that over there. That way I can actually see things properly. Put this here. Oh, nice. I can put it there. It has been a while since I've used OBS. Okay. Move the chat back. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I wonder if it's just I have to full screen this bad boy. Nope. See, that's not supposed to happen. Let's see. Screen. Oh, okay. Well, it's set up wrong. There. That's better. And I might have to move it over. Yeah. Like that. Okay. Victory. We got it. Look at us. Making things happen. Now I've just got to put my chat back. It's always a gong show whenever I do a stream. Okay. I think we're good now. So, what you're looking at is, I guess, the shell of the new desktop hub. So you'll be downloading this instead. It is completely done, again, like I said, from the ground up. We're using Electron now instead of NWJS. And yeah, so I'll just kind of take you through a quick tour. So, Scott, yeah, it is really cool. And this isn't the only one. Do you want me to show you all of the other ones that are coming soon? Because there's a bunch more other than the Farming Sim one. So, I need to remember where we put those, but I can showcase those ones as well. Okay, so essentially, home screen. Here, it's not going to look like this. It's going to have some stuff like a welcome message, quick start guides, a featured community, or content from us that we've released recently. There's some really lofty long-term goals that we want to accomplish with the home screen. I don't want to get too many hopes up, but think about it as like a customizable gaming dashboard. It shouldn't be limited to what we put on there. What we want to do is have it so you have creative control over not just what shows up, but building things to show up. So it's further down the road, but yeah, so this is the home page. So what I'll show next is Explore. So this will probably be titled something different later. This is the Explore page, and it's really straightforward. We wanted to keep everything quite simple. There's a lot of things we still need to add, but as you can imagine, got moved to the backlog. So things like proper sorting, featuring community members here or shards here would be big. There'll be tons of additions to these cards themselves. Like we have profile pictures now. It's just we don't have the ability to change them quite yet. So when we do have that ability, obviously that'll show as well. There'll be all kinds of fancy things that you could expect. So right now, it basically shows you all of the shards that are currently available in GameGlass. You can also filter. So if I filter, you can filter by game or creator. So if I choose a game, you can see there's 345 different Star Citizen shards. I just click on that. And then I've got all the Star Citizen shards. It also shows the filter here, so you can get rid of that, and it just says remove the filter. But you can also add another filter if you want for a creator. So if you want to see all the GameGlass shards, for example, it'll add a filter for that. We can get rid of those. Let's see if we go and find a shard. Let's go find a shard. I'm gonna look for Scott. I'm going to see if he's built a shard. Nope. Unless he has a different username. What about Tram? Nope. We'll showcase, let's see. I think Seaward has a... No, it's not that one. Oh, built for one for Dual Universe. Nice. Artemis Spaceship Bridge. I'm always fascinated to go through here and see what people have made for different games. I've never heard of this game before. Artemis Spaceship Bridge Simulator. I think maybe that's the one we want because I've never heard of it before. So let's roll with that one. So if I load one up, as you can see, what's great about this is it gives you a nice big preview now. It wasn't really doing that in the website. So gives you a big preview. You get all kinds of information now, like the last updated date. You get, there's a thing called attributes down here at the bottom, where it's going to show shard types, resolutions, aspect ratios, supported devices. The descriptions will actually be worthwhile now. There's probably going to be some additional stuff added here as well. And then there will be tabs up here eventually that have additional things like discussions for that shard, which will be bidirectional. So think of it as like a threaded discussion for each shard, where if you've posted on the community and somebody gives you feedback on it, you'll get a notification saying that somebody's commented. You can have a discussion with them, see how you can improve it, etc., etc. So this is where you would add it to the library as well. It's a fancy button. What's cool is you can also go and navigate shards to look at just with these buttons up here, which is definitely nice to have. And then we'll close out of that. Close out of that. You can also search. So if we search for random word, banana. Okay, that makes sense. Let's just look for space. There you go. Loads of shards. As you can see, it was incredibly quick too. We're using Algolia behind the scenes, and they have a great service there. So let's take a peek at... Let's look at... Oh, Sin's got a nice one. Let's look at this one. So as you can actually see here, these actually work now, which is nice. So let's add sins. Click on add to library, and there's just a lot more feedback with this version. As long as everything works, it is beta, and as you could imagine, yeah, add it to library, great. So that's a lot easier than having to go back to website, obviously. So if I go to the library now, I can go over here, and you can see the shard was added to my library. This is going to get a huge update too once we get everything pushed out. The library is too similar to Explore right now, and there's a lot of stuff we want to do to the library to make it really, really obvious on all kinds of things. Things will probably be a lot more game-centric instead of shard-centric. And on top of that, there's going to be, at some point, there's going to be per game settings where you can modify your keybinds for an entire game. And that way, if you do that once in GameGlass, or if there's a direct connection to your keybind file or whatever it may be, that would mean that you can add any shard from that game and it'll work out of the box, because you've mapped your keybinds to GameGlass instead of the shard itself, and then we can handle the rest. Collapsible drawers per game. Yeah, that's what we were thinking. It'll be something similar to that with favorites and collections in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. There's a lot to do before we get to that, but that would definitely be something we would be doing. It's kind of similar to how it works right now, so I'll go over that real quick. So if I click on create shard, I can't because my limit's reached. I'm on a free account. So let's delete EVA. So you can just do this from your library now. You couldn't do that before. And then let's hit delete. Will it work? Hey, did. Now I should be able to. Yes, beautiful. Okay, so then the forge opens. Unfortunately, we just didn't have time to do the forge part as well. We have a lot of plans here, though. So the experience might look a lot different later. We want to be focused on becoming an asset assembly platform, not an asset creation platform. And the difference is right now you have a lot of ability to change a lot of the styles for a component. But while we'll still keep the vast majority of that and probably add a lot more, we want to focus more so on the interactivity, on the connection, on what happens when you add components, adding thousands and thousands more components, how you would manage the different states for those components, be it based on game data or on just anything you want. You could have triggers doing anything. You could have a trigger, if I press this button turns blue. The idea is to make sure that we're creating something that's very expandable and usable, and you can use your imagination, create anything you want. So nothing's really changed here, but what I will show is the old version of this was slow, as you can see. So it'll look something similar to this, but much better. Our collections were not done great, but they're functional for now. So it'll be something similar to this. We don't have that quite yet in the library, but you could imagine this entire part of GameGlass, this whole, I don't know what you'd call it, the Forge dashboard, where you can go and you can look at the shards in different collections. You can click them, you can edit them, you can delete them, report them. Like you can see that this is just not a great setup here. So all this is being redone. All of this will be done in the new desktop hub. Oh, am I sharing? Okay, you can't see it. Woof. That's good. Yeah, all this will be done in the new desktop hub. So I'm just going to close out of that. Did I fancy... look at that beautiful splash screen. That doesn't load centered in your screen. Okay. Kind of merging it with the new hub. So it's yet to be decided on if we want it to be somewhat of a separate application. I don't know if you've played with like what would be a good example, like any Adobe product. So they've got the Adobe Creative Cloud desktop app or something along those lines, or like a JetBrains toolbox, something like that. And there's one case to be made where the editing experience is completely standalone. So you wouldn't be seeing the dashboard here. You would just be having the ability to create shards or exit or save or whatever. And then the builder itself is it gives you a little bit more room and a little bit more flexibility. Whereas we've also talked about integrating it directly within the desktop application. There's definitely some UI concerns and UX concerns when we do it that way. It's not impossible, but it's just a big question of what feels better. We obviously want to add all kinds of other stuff too, like tabs. So if you've got a shard open, you can have like 10 shards open and you can just navigate between tabs. You can copy components between them, all that good stuff. It's just one of those backlog things currently, unfortunately. So when it comes to, I'm just going to I'm going to answer all your questions, guys. Don't worry. I'm just going to finish up the quick demo. When it comes to your library, you get some additional stuff as well when you have a shard. Actually, I'll show you Explore first. So currently, the way this works is on the website, you'd go and you'd find a GameGlass shard if you wanted to add it. So like EVA, any of the ones that we've made, they all have 3 variants to them. So 3 different screen resolutions, one being mobile. And anytime you would add one to your library, it adds all of them. We didn't like that at all, so we've redone it. We've redone it to a point where we're happier with it now than we were before, but still have a lot more work to do with it. So essentially, now it doesn't add all of them. You can choose one or multiple of the ones that you actually want, and that way it also won't clutter up your screen on your application when you're trying to do navigation and whatnot. You're not going to have a bunch of versions that you don't use. So let's look at, I guess we'll just look at EVA. This is the new screen for variant selection. And essentially, you're given 3 options, right? So you've got your 1024, your 1280 by 800, and your mobile weird resolution that's, 13 by 6, but it's kind of closer to 10 by 16 or 10 by 16, yeah. Mobile devices are weird. Hopefully in the future this won't even be a thing. Variants won't be a thing at all because it's all managed within the shard itself. So essentially you're going through this, and let's say if you just want this version, you can just click on it and you can add it to your library. Or if you just want, these 2, you can do that, or you can select all of them. That's your choice. So that's how you would manage that moving forward, which is a much better experience. And then if you have added one into your library, it's not going to show 3 versions of it. It's going to show just the version that you've added. So I've added the Pilot 1024 by 768 shard. If I go to that, so you can see some fancy new things happen here. It tells me if I've enabled editing or not on this shard. And again, this is going to probably be deprecated at some point, but it's here for now. Just because we want to keep some legacy systems. There's a lot of new stuff. We don't want to be overwhelming. Now, how this works is if you have shard editing enabled, then this version of the shard is your own. You're free to do whatever you want with it. We try to make that as clear as possible. So it says full editing control, no auto updates. You can edit it. You can also reset it to its default state. So if I click on reset, an error has occurred. So that's good. Essentially, what this will do is if you've made a change to the Pilot shard, I don't even know if I can, it's not even letting me hop into it. Bug, report. Yeah, if you make a change to it, you can reset it to the current version that's live that we've built. And what's cool is that if I toggle shard editing off, this would be off by default. So, and these are backwards, but essentially what this would do is you're now in view only mode. We call it subscribe, but we're going to change that term as well. It just means that if we push an update to our shards, then you get them as well without having to do anything. And it's a feature that we also want to include for people publishing shards on the community. So if I'm publishing a shard and somebody wants all the updates, they can stay subscribed, or they can edit it, which will it's basically like remixing. And there's a huge discussion around that in a blog post I want to write and all kinds of stuff, but we'll leave that be for now. What's also nice is that we're adding a lot of guides and helpful things. So if I go over here and I click on that, it is now going to show me a tutorial on how this works, which is a big step forward. It explains what view only and editable means. It tells you what the toggling does. You can reset it, and then you can be a premium shard wizard like Gandalf. So there's fun little features like that too. And then I guess the final thing really is just we've added a lot of the settings here. There's still some glitchy things, but things like start with Windows, start minimized, hardware acceleration, path locations. You can manage your account directly from GameGlass. There's some things we're going to have to get rather quickly, like account management, so email address and username changing. The ability to manage your premium subscription if you have that. We're calling it Pro, by the way. No more GlassPass. There's too many nouns and verbs that we're using to describe things. And then the final thing, I guess, would be the couple things down here. So we've got what's new, and this is just a change log, and it's going to give us all the info on everything that's new, obviously. And then there's help and support. You can directly access this within the desktop software now. You click the drop down, you can log out, you can suggest features directly from here. You can go quickly to your preferences account, see your username, all that stuff. There's lots to add here, but that's essentially the experience for now. And yeah, we're pretty excited about it, proud of it. It's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Like, we've rebuilt our complete authentication system. So, social sign in with Discord, Twitch, whatever, all that stuff will be done. We've rebuilt the entire application from the ground up. We've basically built an e-commerce platform within our application where we have a marketplace that you can go and add things to a library. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot more to happen, but we're really excited about it and really proud of it. So so I wanted to share that real quick. I'll probably clip this and post it on our channels so we don't have to go through it again. Yeah, thanks, Scott. All right, so let's go over some questions here real quick. So if you have any questions about the hub or want to see something again, just let me know, and I can navigate back to it. I'll just leave this open for now. Is anybody in there? No. Okay. All right. Question time. Let's do a quick check here and see if we've got anything there. Nope. Cool. All right. So, Scott, you thought the farming one looked good. That's awesome. It's much appreciated. I am going to show off one more. I just have to choose one. Okay, how about this? You don't want to spoil it for everyone, and that's fine. But I'm going to give you a list of games, and you choose one that you want to see. How about that? I just need to remember where they are. No, 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 no. We have a lot of files for a team of 6. Games. That's got to be it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do questions first, and then we're going to pick a shard to look at. So, okay. Tramix asks, will the price raise? And the answer to that is not right away. We actually haven't raised our prices since inception. So 4 years. We wanted to keep it that way, but costs are definitely rising, especially with what we've done here on the new application. So there will be a price increase. As for a dollar amount, as for a timeline, I can't really give you one quite yet, but we will give notice. And we'll make sure that everything that needs to happen to make sure everybody's happy will happen, of course. We do our best to make sure the community is well informed, and you know we've really it's not something we would want to do often, but it has been 4 years, and yeah, it's been a while. So I think that $3.59 a month will probably go up. We kind of want to get some community involvement with our decisions when it comes to pricing. So if you have ideas, if you have dollar amounts or anything that you feel comfortable with, or if you feel is too much, we just want to talk about it, keep it open, because it's an important piece of the puzzle, and we're all about transparency. So we want to make sure everybody's happy, that we can still run our business, and we can still keep providing everything we possibly can to the community. So, I mean, we were probably gonna go around, I think it was, oh boy, I don't want to just start guessing. I think it was $4.99 a month instead of $3.59. Don't hold me to that. It might have been that or $5.99. I don't remember. It's been a while since we talked about it, but there's a lot we want to accomplish before we actually do the pricing change. So stay tuned on that one. It's always weird talking about pricing. I don't know why. It shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. If you feel like you're getting $4.99 of value from something a month, I mean, that's less than a Starbucks. So how much value do you get out of a Starbucks? You know, I had this conversation with my wife recently about that. That is the Razor Crest, and it lights up because I spent a ton of time lighting it. But basically, my son and I did this, and we also did the Lord of the Rings one, the Rivendell set. And even though it was crazy expensive, I think the Rivendell set was $600. It's crazy to spend that on Lego, but it took my son and I 8 months to build it, one bag at a time. And when I think about the time I spent doing that with him, and the price for it, I think there's a lot more value there than a lot of the other things I bought for $600. That's for sure. So anyways, value propositions are always fun. Okay. Collapsible drawers. Yeah, we talked about that. Sounds like a game export to be imported would be good for binds. Yeah. It depends on the game, right? So, Rumpel, we want to... By the way, it's good to see your name. It's been a while. But I absolutely have your name stuck in my memory from the old days. So it's nice to see you around. Um, yeah, to be imported would be great for binds. The idea is to have the least amount of friction possible. How do we do that? There's a lot of different ways we can do that. None of them are easy. Um, the path to complete automation is it's really difficult when there's not an open standard to keybinds and actions for games. The grand plan is to change that, but with baby steps. So the first thing we would do would be changing it so keybinds are on a they're not keybinds anymore. Let's just put it that way. Instead, what you're doing in the Forge to build a shard is you're setting an action, and the action is game specific. So when you build a shard, you're saying, I want to build a shard for blank, Star Citizen, Farming Simulator, whatever. That game will have a set of actions that you can do. And then what we do is behind the scenes, based on your game profile, like that you set up in GameGlass, be it with an automatic connection to a keybinds file if it exists, or setting them in manually if that's the only way to do it. There's all kinds of things that we can do. When there's actually a file, it actually becomes quite interesting. I've actually made a script already that takes your Star Citizen keybinds, imports them, figures out what you do and don't have bound currently based on what the shard itself is using. And then if you don't have something bound, it will use AI and automatically figure out keybinds with modifiers to assign to those things. Very prototype, but it was fun building it. So there's things we can do like that. So the idea is start small, create this simple thing with actions, then shards work. No matter who built it, if it has actions in it, it'll work for you because you're setting your actions at the per game level. We want to take it further than that. We want to take it to a open source schema type approach where essentially a list of actions for a game isn't something that's unique. Everything that's bindable with keys is considered an action. So that means if there's a game out there and there's a set of actions for it, and maybe it's not something where it's as easy as exporting a file and then stripping out the actions, right? It might be where you have to input them all manually, and that's tedious work. But when it's a community effort, then it becomes a lot less tedious. So we're thinking definitely to open source that part of it, where if a game has updated and they have new keybinds or ones have been removed, then you can just tell us or submit a pull request on your end, and boom, then it's updated, or we will know to update it, and it's a lot more manageable. Right now, the way we're doing it is not manageable, and we're finding a lot of that when we talk about very specific interactions with specific games. We want to make sure that in the future we're focused less on that and more about giving those tools to everybody. So that's a very long-winded answer to the keybind stuff. And obviously the grand plan is an SDK and an API. It's hard, and I've had this conversation before, but it's hard to get game studios involved with that when they're already burning cash and have very busy developers to focus on something like an SDK. So it will help knowing we have the partner we have, which we haven't announced yet, but still, it is still a challenge. So that's the answer for you, Rumpel. Moving on, Jamie, the minimum device requirements for GameGlass is Android 7. Are you planning on upping that minimum anytime soon? Worried my tablet ends up not being able to run GameGlass. So Jamie, this is an easy answer for you. The only reason that we have to update GameGlass to support minimum device requirements is because of new web technologies that come onto the market. So, for example, if you have a very old version of Android and you're unable to update to a more recent version of Chrome, then if we add something that they've added in a new version, that won't work for you. Um, and then there's also like the application side of things. So there's that. You can always try and access it as a PWA, a progressive web app, which just means it's like an add to home screen button, basically. And that link is just app.gameglass.gg, and it functions the same way. And it might be a lot more of a portable way of doing things in the future for us. It's just PWA standards aren't there yet. But there are some protocols coming out. I will have a forewarning. There is some protocols coming out that are very interesting to us, like WebSockets 2. I don't know what the requirements would be for those, but and I mean, getting to it is another thing altogether. But yeah, so there's lots we want to do there, and we want to support as much legacy software as we possibly can and hardware. It's just sometimes that's just not how it works because the technology's been updated. We can't do anything about it, and of course, Android and Apple are great at releasing a new phone and a new operating system constantly, deprecating old ones, which means you have to buy new devices, so more money in their pockets. What can you do? Oh, you're a UI dev, Scott? Or are you saying that's me? Because that's me. Um, you asked a little too early, Dramix. Um, well, it's never too early. Again, like I would like to have that discussion, and we'll probably survey everybody at some point and get better community feedback on it. Mostly the feedback lately for pricing when we do talk to people is that uh, everybody doesn't understand how we can keep it so cheap. And, we agree with that in one hand, but at the same time, it's not about that. It's about consistency. It's about community engagement. It's about making sure that you're getting your value, your money's worth. If you feel you're getting that, then that's the most important thing. Um. Oh yeah. Yep. Tramix. I hear you, bud. Yeah, and yes, yeah, yeah. The Razor Crest was, I think, more expensive than Rivendell. And my he's only 6, but he's gotten a lot better at Lego. He's really, I mean, he built most of that on his own. Crazy. I don't get it. Yeah, no problem, Jamie. Appreciate you coming out, asking questions. It would be very lonely if nobody talked. That'll probably happen one week, and I'll just sit here, drink on my own. Sounds like a fun Friday. Um, I still need to show stuff real quick. That's awesome, Scott. You're UI dev, so you know all about that. I'm literally the exact same right now. Product UI, all the design, everything like that. And I have a team. Well, I guess only 2 devs for me, but they're very traditional devs. Michelle, Michael, if you're watching this, it's meant to be an insult. No, I'm just kidding. They're the devs that use Linux and command line everything. It, yeah, it, and it's great. Honestly, I've learned so much from them. It's unbelievable. I always feel very unworthy when I push code because it's usually like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" But I am learning a great deal, which is nice. But yeah, it's tricky business, especially when you work on the UI, but you also know how to implement the UI, but you've designed the UI, let's just say, the way you want it to look. And that translation between design and code sometimes isn't perfect, as you could attest to as well. Okay, so I'm going to give you some games, Scott. You tell me which one you want to see. No Man's Sky, Farming Simulator. Actually, everybody, put your votes in. Which new shard do you want to see? No Man's Sky, Farming Simulator, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy 7, Satisfactory, Eve Online, World of Warcraft, Sea of Thieves. I'm hoping all of these are done, just so you know. I don't know if they are or not. DCS. That one actually is looking pretty dope these days. World of Tanks and Ships looks blank, so I'm not going to mention that one. Yeah. Let's stop there. So Tramix, real quick, you can do that already. There's a go-to shard action. Yeah. Here, before I move on to showing design, first off, pick one of those games: No Man's Sky, Farming Sim, Baldur's Gate, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, Satisfactory, World of Warcraft, Sea of Thieves, and DCS. But while people send those messages, I'm going to just show a couple things because that's possible now. So Tramix, if you are in the Forge and you go and add a button, and you want this button to go to a different shard, there's an action called Go to Shard, and you can just use that, and then you can add one of the shards that you have. So by clicking on that button, it's going to send me to the all basic controls, whatever this shard I added was. So that's possible now. We want to make it a lot more seamless. The navigation and everything we know is a nightmare right now when you're on your device. There's a lot of cool things I want to add when it comes to the UX of that. So a lot of it should be more touch and gesture based. So if I swipe, it should do something. If I'm thinking radials would be super handy. I have this idea for a carousel that if you put, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 fingers on, maybe 4, and then you rotate them, it'll kind of be like a dial, and it'll show you all of your recent shards, or you could set it up or something, and it'll just kind of go through them, and then when you let go, it'll just load the one that you want, which would be super fun, I think. And then what was the other question? Oh, API feeds. So yeah, I mean, right now, I am on. Hold on. Let me fix that. I'm on the wrong thing. Okay, coming back. Boop-a-doo. Okay. So let's go back. Now if we go here. So what's cool about these ones, and you're seeing a bunch of stuff that I'm on my staff account, so for example, this one. This is an Elite Dangerous shard. And oh man, the scaling is awful on this one. Can I even change the height? There's a bug. That's weird. Okay. Anyways, so I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if there's a different one I can throw in here. Yeah, this one. So this is like your pips, right? So think about it like your shields in Star Citizen. And this is actually fed with real game data. So when you set your Elite Dangerous has a log that writes everything that happens in the game to a file in your computer. We read that file, And then based on what happens in it, we update the states of everything in GameGlass. Again, not a scalable way of doing things, but for now, it's a good way of showcasing what is possible when the right tools are in place. So you could imagine if you update your pips in games, so if I add more to systems, it's going to add more bars here, with or without hitting a keybind or the associated button in GameGlass. If I reset it here, it'll reset it in game. If I reset it in game, it'll reset it here, etc. But what's cool about the ED integration, and this is what we always try to get to, this is the core of what we can do differently. There's no limitation to what we can show, why we show it, and how we show it. So for example, this here actually isn't in the game, but we do have the information about where you are in the game, right? So if we know where you are in the game because there's that stateful data, and it's connected properly, then what we can do is we can ping an API to give you extra helpful information. So in ED's case, based on your current location, it would tell you stuff like, and this is kind of customizable, but you could do things like, I can actually click it too. So it'll tell you what the closest stars are. It'll tell you if they're scoopable, which means you get more fuel. If what's the closest landable station. You can search for other things too, like if they're mineable. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff that we can do here. This actually might be based on super old ED data, so take that with a grain of salt. But it'll even show you the planet data. And this is all just coming through an API request that we do when we have a connection. So these things are really cool. We want to do a lot more of these. But again, we want to open this up a lot to people building things like this instead of us doing it and maintaining it, because it just is too much for a small team. So essentially we want to get to a point where you can make this component, you can write out the labels and the icons and do the design, or have a template or something, and you can do the syncing and the API requests and figure out where all that's going, all in GameGlass. And then you can use that shard any which way you want. You can publish that shard to the community. They can use it too. There can be integrations and widgets and plugins and all this other cool stuff. So that's a long-winded answer there. Oh, apparently I ran out of disk space, so I can't record anymore. Yes, for Farming Sim, yes, it will sync with other functions. There's actually someone we've been talking to in the Farming Sim community that has significant experience with this. Somebody in the Euro Truck Simulator community as well that has a lot of experience with this. So I'll show you the Farming Sim one. Seems that's the one you want to see. Yeah, the idea is to be able to set API sources and post and gets and everything like that, everything in between. Okay, hold on. I'm just loading this so you can have a sneak peek. Though my screen is white. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. I will switch over here so you can see. Okay, how do I do that? Nope, still showing Electron. Oh, I messed up my naming. Of course I did. One sec. That's an easy fix. Boom. My big head's in the way. One sec. There you go. Thanks, man. It's much appreciated. We want to give people these components to build with. That's definitely the end goal. There's a lot we can do with... There's some really cool technologies that have come out lately. I've even prototyped some 3D interactions using a tool called Spline that feel really cool to use on your tablet. But yeah, so this is what we've got for Farming Sim. It's relatively basic stuff, but the idea is, it's a farming simulator. And while there's a lot of controls, it's a farming simulator. So, yeah. The idea is to make sure everything's synced up and give you all the components. So if you want to build custom panels, good on you. Do you have any questions about this one, Scott? No. Okay. I played a little bit of Farming Sim like a year ago. I didn't get very far because I think the first thing I had to do was like plow the field, or was it seeding or harvesting? I don't remember. And I went back and forth like 5 or 6 times, and it took a while. And I thought that it was going to like jump in the amount of progress I had. But when I realized after like 15 minutes of doing that, and it was still at 10%, yeah, I couldn't do it. But, big but, is it's a lot different when I'm playing a game for research purposes and for fun. So, take that with a grain of salt. I have not been able to play a lot of games lately, unfortunately. It's very ironic. Only if it tied into a game like Sim Dashboard. Yeah, so that's an interesting one because my bro is a huge racing sim nerd. He has like a massive sim pit and he just loves it. And that community is amazing. And he keeps bothering me about when we're going to integrate with racing games. It's definitely on our radar. There's a lot of tools out there like Sim Dashboard. I think we don't want to... Sim Dashboard's doing something different. And they're doing a good job of it. They have all kinds of widgets, like changing the butt kickers and stuff in your vehicles and the EQ of your sound and like all kinds of stuff. So having an integration with them so you can manage those from a device that you wanted, that's different. I think that we could do that. But we don't really want to just have way too much stuff because then it's overwhelming. Oh, iRacing, yeah. We stayed at my brother's for a month while we were, our house was being built, and I mean, my kids loved his simulator, but I played it a bit too. We played a lot of Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, iBeam, N-Beam? iBeam? I don't remember. And lately, they've been playing, my kids have been playing, what is it? Oh, what is it called? It's the racing one that just came out. Forza? No. It's the really casual one where you can just drive whatever and it's ridiculous. But they like it, so. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've got a Quest 3 back there. I haven't done any racing in it, though. Maybe I'll do that tonight. F1? What's the best F1 game in VR? Is it the new... There's an EA Sports one, right? I think there's a new EA Sports one that just came out. There's a few other ones too. I think like Dirt was one, and then like Richard Burns. There's a few different ones, but all the telemetry data that comes out of those, it's all one directional. The data is being fed from the game to your device, not the other way around. Um, so, and it's also really difficult to make your own clusters and stuff in Sim Dashboard. Like, imagine if we gave you the tools to build anything for any vehicle and have it actually work bidirectionally. So if you set up a dashboard, you could have a speedometer that, like, if you're, I don't know, if you're driving a Mercedes, then you have the Mercedes console, I guess. You got the speedometer that works and synced with the game, but you've also got like buttons, the center console stuff, maybe steering wheel stuff. You just press the buttons, and it just bidirectional. F123, iRacing. I hear a lot of iRacing. What's the most casual of those three? Because I think we tried a little F1. No, it wasn't F1. It was just really fast cars. My kid got frustrated pretty quickly. Went too fast. F1, yeah. Cool. Well, I'll give that a whirl. Maybe I'll try that tonight. Though I do have a bunch of notifications, so I need to get into GitHub real quick and get those answers to those folks. Cool. So you know what? We're gonna end it here. Thanks for all the great questions, everybody. It's nice to see you guys come out. Do this every week, even if it's not GameGlass related. We'll just shoot the shit and have fun and enjoy each other's company and talk racing, games, sim. Eventually I'll get to actually playing games with the community. That's really what I want to do. I was thinking about that today. I was like, I wonder if I could get people into Helldivers and get a group going. Because I hear nothing but good things about that game, and I have a soft spot for co-op shooters. Anything co-op, really. I was a 90s kid, so my whole childhood was playing co-op games with my friends. Yeah, right on. Okay, well, let's leave it at that. Again, thanks to everybody that came out. I'll chop this up and send it out on different channels when I get a chance, but it's Friday. So have a great weekend, and if you couldn't make it this time, you're welcome to join us next time. Same time, same place, 5:30 p.m. EST on Fridays, and you can find us on Twitch, Discord, YouTube, Facebook. I think I'm even streaming to Facebook and Twitter right now. I don't remember. Cool. All right. Thanks again, guys. Take care.